My name is Ali Kefa, senior most comrade, all universities of Kenya. Now we are disappointed and we must let our frustrations be known to the relevant authorities, that is the Office of the President, the Ministry of Education, about this nonsensical conversation of new funding model. Our question is, what is the problem with the old model that we had, that it has now to be revised at this particular point in time? Uh, Retired President, the late Mwai Kibaki, had a vision of free education, and he ensured the model in place is working to favor the common mwananchi. And in the entire power of President Kenyatta, we use the same funding model and we didn't have the issues. Why is it that President Ruto feels now that the funding model has an issue? As a matter of fact, when we registered the students the other week at the University of Nairobi, we realized that majority of students were placed in band 4 and 5, which receives the minimum payout from the government. And from Kenya, we know that the poverty level index of Kenyans. So it is not logical that more than 80% of the students were in band 4 and 5. What is the problem that is happening? Is this a scheme from the education board to steal money? Yes, because we were being told that the people in band 1 are people who have received bursaries in high school. And you know clearly that the bursaries is a budgeted corruption scheme, and people who have received bursaries are the same children of the haves. The have-nots don't receive the bursaries. So what we are telling the president, this model need to be scrapped off, and not until it meets the rights of the university students. We're going to come out, and we are not threatening. We're going to do it. Yes? I have seen student leaders go to State House to pick some tokens. Those are not student leaders. Those are crooks implanted by the administrations of the university. And we don't recognize them at any point. The students' voice must be heard. And we call upon the president to act on this matter and scrap off the nonsensical thing of the new funding model. If he doesn't do that, we are going to hit the streets on a date that will be communicated once the students resume back to the university. Thank you.
Okay. So we wanted to know, between the old funding model and the new funding model, we're seeing that there are levels from level 1 to level 5. What you say are the biggest differences between the old model and now this model that wants to be introduced?
I think I can answer that question. If you see, for example, people that are went to private schools, right? Some private schools, ziko huko Westlands, Kileleshwa, and some private schools are in the slums. You can't put such students in the same category, surely. Yeah, so the old funding model was way better than this one. That's the whole point. Like, mtu amesomeshwa na donors, right? Then when they come to campus, you want now to start categorizing them as if their parents really earn a lot of money, and they don't. People are taken to school by sponsors, even in international schools. But now, when they are going to campus, the donors now, they slip out. Then now you want to say that those people are in the same level as the other Kenyans that their parents are earning very high salaries. That is so wrong. Yeah.
Just to answer that about the differences between the old model and the new model. One of the biggest mishaps about this new model is that it is discriminatory in nature. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest essence of education, and particularly public education, is that it should not just be of quality, but it should be of equality. And the famous phrase that they say is that education is the greatest equalizer. So that is something that we do not want. Education is not a transactional affair. It is not a privilege where you decide this person gets this and this person gets this. Education is an equal opportunity for all, whether you are a son of the president, a son of a peasant. So that's the difference between this old model and this new model. This new model is going to categorize us into classes. The old model had a flat rate for all the government scholarship for students who were joining institutions. And that was the biggest advantage. We were the same equally, everyone, in all our institutions.
They have stated that in the new model, they want to remove the money that was coming to the institutions and make the money individualized. It's more of the individuals getting the money. In terms of the amounts, how does the new funding model change the system? In terms of the amounts,
In terms of
the amounts,
people are paying.
yeah.
In terms of?
In terms of the amounts,
Yes.
how does the new education funding model change the system? You can answer.
So the question you are asking, I can answer it in this way. This new funding model is coming with schemes such as bands. Yeah, there's band 1 to band 5. Yeah, so these bands, the government is issuing some amount depending on the bands. The band that receives the most amount of money is band 1. Yes, they pay the minimum fees, and even the upkeep loan from ELB is higher. Yes. But then, if you check now quite well, the people who deserve the most band 1, if at all the funding model is working, which is something that's nonsensical, which should not be there. The people in band 1 are the rich people still, yes? The connections they have within the L headquarters is when they're squeezed into band 1, yes? And people who most deserve the band 1 are allocated band 5, and band 5 pay the most of the money. So you see, it's better, the previous funding model, it was better that the money is sent direct to the university, so you just have to pay some part of the fees. And then there is equality, yes.
Yes, and to point out on that about the fee is that one thing that people do not notice is that before we had the new funding model, something happened before. There was a sudden fee increment on all institutions. There was a stakeholder meeting that involved university vice chancellors and also stakeholders at the Ministry of Education. And the conclusion and resolution of that meeting was to increase fees. So before even the new funding model, there was a certain fee increment that we saw. Then that is when they introduced the new funding model. So the new funding model also is a product of fee increment, something that we have been crying for so long. So how do you want us to accept the new funding model when it is adopting a resolution of fee increment that we have been on the street crying for so long about? Yeah.